Next, we will have a very interesting international panel discussion on public properties in the Finnish market. Panelists will be introduced and the discussion will be hosted by Managing Director of Newsec Advisory, Mikko Tenhola. Welcome back to the stage, Mikko.
Welcome to all participants of the webinar. My name is Mikko Tenhola. I'm the MD of Newsec Advisory Finland. And I have great pleasure to host this new panel discussion. And we have super exciting panelists here at the moment. They are the major influencers of the infrastructure investment or social infrastructure investing in the Nordics. And needless to say, all panelists have a strong knowledge of the market and especially the Nordic infrastructure investing market. And may I introduce the panelists? The first panelist is Ilja Badjan, who is the CEO and the founder of Samhällsbyggnadsbolaget i Norden AB, called also SBB. The company is listed in Nasdaq Stockholm and it's focusing on social infrastructure properties in all the Nordic countries, Finland, Sweden, Norway and Denmark. And the portfolio is about 9 billion euros at the moment. Welcome, Ilja, to the panel.
Thank you.
And the second panelist is Nils Tyff, who is the CEO of Hemsö. Hemsö is currently owning 6.2 billion euros worth of assets in Sweden, Finland, and also in Germany. And they also have an additional large development portfolio for 1 billion euros to develop. And I know, Nils, that you are on winter holidays, but thanks for joining for the panel anyway. Welcome, Nils.
No problem at all.
Thanks.
Thanks. Nice being here.
And last but not least, we have Jussi Karjula, who is CEO of Hoivatilat. And Jussi has been the CEO of Hoivatilat since 2010. And he also acts as the chairman of the board of Hoivatilat AB in Sweden. And Hoivatilat is currently part of the Idefika group, which is listed in Amsterdam and Brussels stock exchange. And Idefika is investing in Belgium, Finland, Germany, UK, Netherlands, and Sweden. And the portfolio is valued little less than 4 billion euros at the moment. Welcome, Jussi.
Thank you. Kiitos.
And to start to start the panel, just a brief set of numbers. The public properties has shown a very strong growth as an investment category during the last 5-10 years in the Nordics. And to give some figures, the Nordic they accounted from the Nordic transaction volume in 2015, it was 7%. And in 2020, it was 13.5% in the Nordics. So there's a huge growth. And when you look at the Finnish figures, the 2019 figures showed that social infrastructure accounted of 14% of the total transaction volume in Finland. And 2020, last year, the number was 24%. So the growth has been strong, and the transactions have been increasing. And at the same time, during the last 5-10 years, the players have been more players have become more international, and at the same time, the number of players has increased, both domestic and international players, at least here in Finland and also in Sweden. So we have a very interesting sector on our hands, and we have the best panelists here to discuss about it. And maybe I hand it over to you, Ilja, for the first question. Now, when we have seen that the strong growth is there, and in this segment, why is the investor so interested in investing in public properties, and why this sector has been growing so fast?
The important point here is that if you look at the Nordics in general, you will see that this kind of services that is provided within social infrastructure properties is publicly financed, or at the end of the day, government-backed income. And when you have government-backed income in a situation where everyone is chasing after low-risk assets and secure cash flow, that is natural that investors are focusing on these assets. And on top of that, you have the situation where changing demographics is going to influence demand, and the requirements for new properties are going to increase year after year. And then it's very good to have private investors that be complement to public to municipalities that today are main owners of this kind of assets.
Thanks, Ilja. Very good points. Do the other panelists have something to add on the Ilja's points? Jussi, you want to say something?
Yeah, I can't hear Ilja's voice. That's the message to the technical department. That it's quite challenging to communicate if I can't hear other panelists.
Okay.
That's the only point. I can add it later more, but I don't know what Ilja said.
Yeah. What about the if we go forward? Why is Finland so interesting? We have seen a strong growth in Finland, and we know that Sweden has been active for a long time already, and now Finland is growing in this segment. Niels, do you have a comment on that?
Yeah, maybe I can. I couldn't hear Jussi or Ilja speak, so maybe I shouldn't say exactly the same thing.
Okay.
I can hear you, but not Jussi and Ilja. But I think the reason Finland is becoming more interesting is it's if you look at the Finnish market, it's always been quite small, quite illiquid, but also with that, much less competition. And I think 2-3 years ago, when Hemsö looked at properties in Finland, we would have 1 or 2 competitors. Today, that's grown. That's maybe 3 or 4 competitors. But if you compare that to Sweden, we will have 10 or 12 competitors. So it's still very much, it's not as crowded as it is in other countries, especially Sweden. And yields are higher in Finland. So higher yields, lower interest rates in euros, and less competition. I think that bodes well for there being a lot of investor appetite for the Finnish market.
2 very, very valid points to invest in Finland. If the yields are higher and the competition is less, and I guess they go hand in hand also at the same time. How do you feel about the public sector in general? My feeling is that maybe in Sweden the public sector is more active in these kind of transactions, for example.
No, I think that's definitely true. It's if you look back in Sweden 10 years ago, Hemsö started investing over 10 years ago in Sweden. It was still unusual there. It would happen that the public sector would sell assets or do developments with private companies. That is happening now in Finland, but very, very early stage. We are having a lot of discussions with municipalities. We did a big transaction last week with the municipality of Lahti. But these are quite unusual still. So it's not the market always lags. The Finnish market always lags Sweden, and I've been investing in Finland for over 16 years, and I think that's true for all asset classes. But I hear more and more talk within Finnish municipalities that they're open to cooperation with the private sector, either to sell assets or to develop assets with private companies. So I think that will definitely increase going forward, because the Finnish municipalities have a lot of challenges, from a budget perspective, but also resources and know-how. They really don't know how to develop some of their assets.
Yeah, maybe I have a question to Jussi also in this case, because you're representing a company that is also investing in UK and Europe. What are the sort of differences compared to Europe and Nordic countries, or maybe Finland?
Yeah, I have to say that a little bit challenging to start, because I didn't hear Ilja's speech, but I heard 50% from Nils' speech. But if I answer, Mikko, your question, it's really so that yields are a little bit higher in Nordics comparing other European countries, and also my opinion is that cooperation and partnership between private and public, private operators, private investors, and cities, municipalities, it's more closely, more natural in northern countries, in Nordics. So it's quite easy to create and build good partnership with cities and municipalities in our area. And that's very important base for good solutions and good business also.
That's very good. Ilja, can you hear us? Have you heard what the others have been saying?
Yeah, now half of Nils and now it's working.
Okay, excellent. Ilja, I know that you have been investing in basically all Nordic countries at the moment. What are the sort of easiest countries to invest, and how is Finland compared to the Sweden, Norway, and Denmark? Well,
yeah, I think as Nils said previously, in Swedish market is more mature market in the way that municipalities have been working with private investors for a few years, and Finnish market is, as Jussi said, coming, and also there is municipalities are opening up, and there is room for cooperation. So I think Finnish market is going to develop well in next few years, and I see more and more municipalities interested to open discussions, both for not only what historically has been case on preschools or elderly care homes, but also for schools and for other part of their portfolios. So I'm sure we will see more deals in Finnish market and with Finnish municipalities in years to come.
Great, thanks for the comments. What about then, of course, Newsec is also working a lot with the public sector, and they are one of our biggest clients, and we have a lot of discussions, of course, about this sector also in general. And maybe Nils, what do you see? What are the sort of pros and cons of public tenant to partner with the private companies then? why public sector should be using Hoivatilat or Hemsö or SBB, for example, as a partner?
No, I think a lot of people always talk about capital and that they don't have the capital. I don't think that's the main reason, because the Finnish municipalities can borrow very cheaply through muni finance. So I don't think that's the main reason. The main reason, I think, is competence and resources, specialized expertise. I mean, in Finland it's quite interesting that way, because there are almost 400 municipalities in Finland, and many of them very, very small. And of course, it's extremely difficult for a municipality with 15,000 or even 30,000, inhabitants to have the expertise in-house on how to develop and build a new school. They do that too rarely, and unfortunately in Finland they've been very stuck very much to the PPP model, which I think only benefits the construction companies and not the municipalities. So I think it's really that companies like us can come with experience and specialized expertise and really build a better school at a better quality and cheaper than they can. I think that's really the main reason why a municipality should, not always, but should at least think about maybe cooperating with a private company.
Thanks, Niels. Good points. Jussi, do you want to add on something?
Yes, I think that we active private companies, we have a good room for create new solutions, new innovative solutions to municipalities, cities. And for example, we have launched a few years ago a dream service community concept, where elderly people, daycare, restaurants, gyms, different care services. So that kind of new solutions is needed, and it is huge need for in a market. And I think that's important point that we can create something new to the market, to the society, and also make good things to whole society through our business activities.
Thanks, Jussi. Ilja, do you have something to add on, or should we move on the next question?
No, I think the important point is what Nils and Jussi are emphasizing, that we are the specialists. That is our profession, to deliver the best properties and the best solutions in most efficient long-term way. And particularly for us as long-term investors, we are very keen to have high quality assets. So I think it's much better if municipalities, let us to take care of concrete and that stuff, and they focus to deliver the best services to their citizens.
Thanks, Ilja. Very good points. Then regarding the public properties or public infrastructure, you all real estate investment companies, and what are the sort of risks involved in investing in this public sector? I'm sure that there are also some challenges or risks in these. Niels, you want to start?
Well, I think the main risk, of course, is this market is it's politicized. So it's many processes can take a long time, and you can work on a transaction with the municipality for years, and then at the end of the day, a political decision or a new election comes, and then the deal is put on hold. Basically, that's one risk. But I think maybe the other risk, the risk in public sector properties is very low, and that's why we all like it and we invest in it. But there are some risks. And I think the main two risks are, residual value. And not all public properties are equal. They're not all low risk. You can have a nursing home which is not modern and will not fulfill the standards of today or in 5 or 10 years. The residual value risk of that property is going to be quite high. So I think as always with all real estate, it's important to focus on micro location, the quality of the asset, how well would that nursing home or school work in 10 years, because not all properties will be good in 10 years. So I think it's very important to still be quite picky on your when you're choosing the assets to buy or to develop. I think that's probably the main risk that I see some investors maybe not focusing so much on.
Thanks, Niels. You Jussi want to add on something? I definitely can see that the residual risk is there, but
yes, maybe we have under the process at the moment Finland the social and healthcare reform, and I think it is important that everybody give very clear message to public sector and to the decision makers that if society seeks savings on care costs by setting prices that are too low, it's very challenging for operators, and we have seen signs of this, in care sector, and it's very important that everybody knows that there are some cost level what you have to cover also in private sector, and that's maybe the biggest risk. Maybe it is part of political risk that they don't understand that you have to pay nearly same cost to private sector that are your cost in public care.
That's good point. And Ilya, do you want to add something on the risk side, or was that about there?
No, I think at the end of the day, this is still probably the lowest risk assets you can have when you have exposure to the government at the end of the day. So and the rest is the part of the job that you as a property investors or we should take care of. I think it's important to emphasize Jussi's point concerning public sector and politicians' relationship to private operators. I think it is very important that competition is fair. So the private operators can show that they can deliver high quality services within fair competition with municipalities, because at the end of the day, all of us are focusing to have as low cost for taxpayers as possible. And we are arguing that we can deliver properties that are, as Niels said before, cheaper and more efficient and more long term that many times municipalities are doing by themselves. In the comparisons, it's very important to have fair competition between municipalities and private operators.
Thank you, Ilya. Maybe then a topic that is very, very interesting, and I think it has been emphasized even more during the coronavirus. It has been growing last couple of years very strongly, is the sustainability. And you as investors also, I'm sure that you have to be aware of that. Jussi, how do you see the sustainability? How are your actions toward that sector?
Yeah, it's very important part of business nowadays, and in every case you have to make different calculations how you save environment and so on. And also, I think when you think, for example, energy production models, you can use solutions what are very good also for environment, and these are very, very important. But I think the key point in our business and our activities is that our real estate business and our real estate activities are very important for the whole society, and we are making and producing good things for our society. Better real estate solutions, more cost-effective solutions, hybrid solutions, different services in the same building, same community, and this is the most important part what we can offer and give to our society.
Thank you, Jussi. Niels, you want to add on something? Niels, I think you're in mute. Are you?
Oh, sorry. I think sustainability is, of course, important for everybody. But I think maybe I'd like to make another point. I think municipalities or public sector tenants, especially, are quite bad at working with sustainability. I think they could put much higher demands on us as private companies to work more with sustainability. I think most of us do already, but I think they can really lead the way, the municipalities, to try new innovative solutions on sustainability, climate neutral buildings, etc. But I think they're quite, I wouldn't say lazy because that's the wrong word, but they're not putting on enough demands, and I think they can really increase the demands, and that could be good for this whole sector to work more focused on the sustainability issue.
Mm. Yes, I could not agree more. Then about the future of the public sector investment or public infrastructure investment, Ilya, where do you see where are we going now? Is the growth going to continue in next 5 years, or how do you see what are the main drivers of this sector?
My view on this is that the needs in public sector throughout the Nordics are going to increase strongly in next decades, both on the elderly care properties specialized for people with disabilities, but also educational properties, and on educational side also because of the public sector have not taken care of the properties in the proper way. So you have, for example, in Finland, many schools that have poor air quality and they old and they have large problems because this has not been addressed on time. So I completely agree with Niels that public sector need us very much, but they should also put more focus on sustainability, and that will both create good return to the public sector, but that can also lead that we as a private investors can use the new solutions that in the way will also affect public sector, so they can follow on the same line.
Great, thanks, Ilya. And I think we are pretty much running out of time, and we have to wrap up. But my last question is that, of course, that how much money are you going to invest in Finland this year? And Jussi, you want to start? It's an easy question.
Yeah, it's easy. You know, Idefika is listed company, and they haven't given clear guidance for that. But I would say that it's minimum more than 100 million euros what we can see at today in our sales pipeline, and we will invest that. It can be something between 100-200 million euros, but also we are very open if there are coming big portfolios, sales and lease back opportunities. So it can be more, but I would say today that it's minimum 100 million euros.
Okay, thanks, Jussi. Sounds good. How about you, Niels? Any promises here?
Well, the easiest thing is to say a minimum 100. We've invested 100 million euros already this year. But I think it's, for us, if we find good investments, we'll invest it. If that's 100 million or it's 500 million euros, that doesn't really matter. We've done 100 million euros so far, and I'm hoping we can invest much more. But we'll see.
Okay. And Ilya, how about you? What is your feeling, investments in Finland?
Yeah, we did last investments to slightly above 200 million euros in December, and we are running almost 100 million euros right now. But for us, the size is not an issue. We can invest 10 million euros or invest €1 billion. That is the issue is to have a good partnership and to be part of delivering good properties to municipalities.
Great. Thanks a lot, panelists. And if I wrap up quickly, it seems that the Finnish social infrastructure market will continue developing further. Looks like the yields are a bit high and the competition is increasing, but still lower than in Sweden. And we feel that there will be more investments in this sector, and also public sector will be more involved in the future. So I guess that's the sort of wrapping up. Thank you for participating. Thanks Jussi, thanks Niels and Ilya, and I hope to see you in some other Newsec events also. And of course, we want to work with you guys. Thanks a lot.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.